Well, two persons sitting next to me today, $1 billion man, because Airbnb, a very attractive company, is supposed to be valued at $1 billion. Who are you? What do you do?
Hallo, ich bin Joe von Airbnb.
Awesome in German.
Thank you. I'm the co-founder and chief product officer of Airbnb.
Awesome. And another young gentleman sitting next to me, he was just acquired, so congratulations. Who are you and what do you do?
Danke, hallo, ich bin Gunnar und ich bin für Airbnb in Deutschland verantwortlich.
Okay, he just said he's the guy responsible for Airbnb in Germany, for all the English viewers today. Yeah, hey, cool. Airbnb, tell us a little bit about it. I think almost everyone out there knows it, but maybe for the two guys who do not know it yet, what does Airbnb do, basically?
So Airbnb is a community marketplace where you can list and book any type of space, anywhere around the world, by the night, the week, or the month. It started in our apartment back in 2007. It actually has a really rich story behind it. My roommate Brian and I, who's one of our other co-founders, we were two entrepreneurs, just quit our jobs, and we didn't have enough money to pay rent for our apartment. So we literally had a matter of days to figure out how to make some extra money to save our apartment. It just so happened that there was an international design conference coming to San Francisco, where we live, and all the hotels were sold out in the city. So we started to think, we have all this extra space in our apartment, and people need a place to stay. What if we blew up some airbeds on the floor and rented them out during this conference? And so in one day, we created a website, and this wasn't a bed and breakfast, we called it an airbed and breakfast.
This is awesome. I was about to ask you about the name.
So it started by renting 3 airbeds in our apartment, and we made the website in a day. By day 2, we had people emailing us from all over the world. Designers from Germany, designers from London, designers from Tokyo who needed a place to stay for this conference. And so we ended up selecting 3 guests, and all of our assumptions were broken about who might use this type of service. Think for a second, like, who do you think would sleep on an airbed in someone's living room? Probably male, probably pretty young, just out of college, looking to save some money. In fact, everyone that stayed with us was over the age of 30, including a woman from Boston. So we had a gentleman from India, a 38-year-old woman from Boston, and a 45-year-old husband and father of 5 sleep on airbeds in our apartment. And what happened is that they helped us save our apartment. We made $1,000 in just a couple days. And something more happened, is that we established this connection with our guests that created these friendships that exist today. 4 years later, we're still in touch with these guests. So it was much more than just a financial transaction. Connecting with another human, connecting with a fellow designer, connecting with somebody who we had similar interests with, that made it really special. And it was from that moment, Brian and I looked at each other and we said, oh my God, how can we take this to the rest of the world? How can we let other people experience what we just experienced? And that's when we started building Airbnb.
But as far as I know, you are 3 founders, right? Who's the third one?
Right, so I'm a designer, Brian's a designer. We went to design school together. That's how we met each other. We've known each other for 10 years. And being designers, we don't have technical backgrounds. So we knew if we wanted to make a really robust website that was international and would allow payments and let people connect with each other all over the world, we would need excellent technical expertise. And so Brian asked me, who's the best developer that you know? And my answer was my previous roommate, Nate. Nate is a Harvard-educated computer science grad, and we had a friendship for a couple years. And so we approached him with the idea, and he absolutely fell in love with it. He said, I would love to be part of an opportunity that not only is international, but includes many different types of challenges and payments, but an opportunity that uses the internet to bring people together in the real world.
Like you said, you started in 2007 with this conference. As far as I know, 2008 was the date where you built this company. 3 years later, how many airbeds are there right now?
Not so many airbeds, but many different types of places. We have everything from what we say a private apartment to a private island. And we literally have a whole category of private islands on the site. So what Airbnb has become, it started with this really narrow use case, right? Airbeds and apartments. And then because it was such an open platform, like very much like eBay, somebody added a private room, and then somebody added an entire apartment. Then somebody added a vacation rental. And then somebody added a bed and breakfast. And then somebody added a castle. And then somebody added a treehouse. And then an igloo. And then a private island. And it's blossomed into this beautiful marketplace, just like eBay. eBay started with coins and collectibles. And then somebody added electronics. And then somebody added cars. And then somebody added fashion. And it just morphed into this beautiful open marketplace. We've done the same thing, except with space.
Just give us a feeling. How many users do you have, and how many vacation opportunities, whatever you may call them?
Sure. So we have to date, there's over 140,000 spaces and properties worldwide. But what we're most excited about is the number of nights booked on the site. So we've actually crossed over 1.9 million nights booked on Airbnb.
This is quite a bunch.
This is quite a bunch. From a thing that started in our apartment, to go from that to 1.9 million nights booked is, it's incredible.
It obviously is. Quite a bunch of rumors going around about your valuation. I said already, like 1 billion is the number in the room, and you got a lot of money, like 2 designers and 1 IT guy got $100 million. What will happen to Airbnb with that?
Well, this is still just a rumor, but the team is growing incredibly fast. The site is growing, we're on the same trajectory that eBay was in 1999. Let's just say that. We're growing over 40% month over month. So with that growth, of course, there's a lot of interest to get involved in the company, but I think our focus is really how do we scale the team? We're over 100 people now. How do we continue to grow and scale the team, not only in San Francisco, where we're based, but also in other places around the world, of course, here in Germany, and every other sort of major market on the planet.
Okay, sounds like a thrilling journey you're going right now. What was I about to say? Maybe we should start with this young guy. As he is your German headquarter right now, give us a feeling about what you did so far, and how did this come about that they bought you?
So I was a PhD until just some weeks ago, and during that time I worked with some friends on a very small version of Airbnb, if you want to call that. The idea came last summer over a barbecue where we were thinking about a big event coming up in the city we were in. This is in Koblenz, and they were expecting 2 million visitors this summer over several weeks, but the number of the hotel capacity there was just not sufficient to match that. So we thought about creating a space where students could rent out their place while they are gone for internships during the summer. And that's what so we partnered with this event, and we started building the site in our free time, just along the side, a few hours per week. And always, of course, we already knew there was this big other site in the US, so maybe we looked at them as a kind of our example in many ways that we can look up to as an original. But this was only supposed to be a small project like that, and actually it was received very well in that area. So we quickly grew to also several hundred properties, and then. The idea came now some weeks ago about how to continue with this. Should we actually turn this into something more, or just leave it on the side like that? And then with the market being so dynamic here in that whole space, we actually started talking to these guys, and luckily they talked to us and invited us to San Francisco and to the US, and so we met and discussed about what we could be doing here maybe, because Airbnb does need to become international, I think, also from its team, not only from the hosts, but also really be in the places where this community now is. And so then we decided to do this together and take the whole team and also add many more people to that and make that our base here in Germany. And that's what we just now did recently, some days ago, and actually 2 days ago we moved into a new office in Hamburg and now are growing the team a lot.
Okay, I expected you to stop working because you're an internet millionaire right now.
Why would you stop working? What do you want to do all the time? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good answer. How do these guys fit in your strategy?
Yeah, so we got approached by Gunnar and his team, and we were super impressed. Right, 6 really smart entrepreneurs, local to Germany. They know the market, great backgrounds. We actually gave them a challenge assignment, and they exceeded it. Beyond our expectations, and we just said, man, well, this makes a lot of sense to work with them. So he mentioned they're 6, but they're really going on 30.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little bit also about like make or buy decision in a way?
Slightly. It's a way to kind of accelerate our presence here and to find people who are really passionate about Airbnb. I mean, it's one of our core values. Every single person we hire in the company, number one is, are they passionate about Airbnb? Have they used the product? Do they understand it? Do they get the community? Do they understand that we're more than just a transaction platform? It's a marketplace, but it's way more than that. It comes back to what happened in our apartment that day. It was, yes, we made $1,000, but we also formed relationships with our guests, and that's what we're scaling.
Before we speak about all this copycats going on here in Europe and in Germany, quite a bunch of people come to me and ask, hey Joel, you know, you're around this startup scene here in Germany and you quite a bunch of models, and I read that Airbnb just got $100 million and is valued at $1 billion. I think it's a nice product, but do they really make that much money? Is the business model that great that this is, you know, makes sense? What would you answer them?
I'd say it's a very lucrative platform. And it's a success-based platform. Honestly, we're stewards for our community, right? The hosts that list their places on our site, they're the ones making the money. They're the ones who are seeing the financial success. We're only successful when they are. You know, the way the model works is when you book on Airbnb, you use your credit card or your bank account or PayPal. You pay us. We hold your money till 24 hours after you check in, and then we transfer the money to the host, to the property owner. And so when we do that, we hold about 10%. So we make about a 10% fee on the transaction. And honestly, if the hosts aren't able to rent their properties, then we're not successful. So it's a success-based platform. We only do well when our community does well.
Okay, you just started this business basically in a way. What do you think about the business model?
I think the business model is great. It's great for people for the reasons Joe mentioned, because the incentives are so aligned. So if you're a host, if you're thinking about doing this, you can just try it out. You list on the site and then you wait for a booking to come in. And I know so many people who in the recent weeks listed their spaces, and it took hours or just days until they received booking requests, and several of them. And now all of a sudden they're confronted with maybe 500, 1,000 or more euros in this rent return, and then they're more than happy to give a few percent of a transaction fee away from that. So it's perfectly aligned. There's nobody who feels like pressured in any sense in that.
You know what's really cool is that here in Germany we have 1,500 hosts in the entire country, and collectively they've booked over 70,000 nights.
Yeah.
Quite a bunch.
Yeah, that's just here in Germany.
And that's even more surprising if you think about how this all came organically. I mean, without any marketing so far. I think the brand is really just at the beginning. There are a few people who know about it, but we were very surprised, even for us being in Germany, how strong the reaction is. So I'll give you an example. When we put out a job ad last week for different positions in Hamburg, we thought, okay, hopefully we find some people. We had 400 applications in a few days. So who's going to process all of that, right? But we did like tons of interviews, and there are people really wanting to join this brand. And I think what is going to happen once we actually start being active here and being on the ground, being in every city, having meetups and being more present in the media, I think that's going to catch up really, really big.
Okay, we understood so far that community is a really important part in your business in a way, and it's thrilling and it's passionate. The millions of people out there, of course, are pretty curious about this whole copycat thing that is going on right now, because here in Germany, 2 companies started. One is called 9 Flats, done by the founder of Quip, which is the pendant of Yelp in a way, and then there's the big Samve clan doing this Wimdu and Raizu stuff. How does this make you guys feel if such big players, big entrepreneurs start copycats like this?
Honestly, we're not worried. I mean, we have other things to worry about right now, continuing the growth, innovating on the product. I think that's one of our core strengths. I mean, we have one of the best product teams in the world. You can imagine we have some of the best designers coming to Airbnb. We have some of the top engineers out of Stanford and MIT and Harvard joining Airbnb. And these other sites can look at what we're doing today, but they can't see what we're doing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty brave in a way. I mean, if I were you and the Samve clan who built the City Deal Imperium and eDarling, the eHarmony clone, I mean, they're famous for copycatting in a way and doing this really, really effectively. I would be slightly afraid of my business model. Or is this maybe even a chance to buy them later on or do a cooperation? What is your view on this?
You know, I think Airbnb is going to be a very large independent company. At this point, we are just focused on our own growth and continuing to innovate.
Okay. Still one more question. There was this newsletter going around all the internet, of course, where you guys, the three founders, wrote about, how did you call them, imposter websites, I think. You didn't mention any names, but my impression was that you were obviously talking about Wimdu. Is it that you feel that these guys doing hard marketing and also threaten your community in a way, or what was the background of this newsletter?
So our community is core to Airbnb, right? Again, we're just stewards for our community. And the community was communicating to us that they felt threatened by some of the tactics these other sites are using. And so, I mean, honestly, we received so many emails from our community about it that we felt we had to address it. I mean, community is and always will be core to Airbnb. So we felt we needed to take all these responses we were getting from our hosts and actually just communicate to the rest of the community.
What happened exactly to the community that made them send these 600 emails you were writing about?
So we've had, over 1,000 reports of these other websites booking rooms and selling with fairly aggressive tactics, selling hosts in their own living rooms. So, yeah, posing as travelers, but really cornering the hosts in their own living rooms and selling them.
Okay, was it Wimdu who did this, or who was the guy in charge there?
Yeah, it's these other websites.
These other websites, okay, I see. Is there still a chance that you buy other players too, like maybe in Asia or even here in Germany, there's maybe 9 Flats, as they're not that big funded as Wimdu with $90 million. Do you plan to do further buyings?
We'll see. We have very aggressive expansion plans. Presence in our major markets around the world. The best part is that we're already in 184 countries. Airbnb is already in 184 countries, 14,000 cities. We already have a community presence in every country except North Korea.
Okay. I was just about to ask how many countries exist on the world. I think it's 190, right?
It's somewhere around there, depending on the United Nations and kind of, yeah. But we have presence in every major country. We have a community. We already have a foundation. So it's really just a matter of when do we want to turn the switches on to actually start hiring from our community.
Mm-hmm. Joe was speaking about radical growth plans, or how did you call them? Aggressive growth plans. What is your role on this?
So we are now building the German team around this, the German organization, and we are actually bringing Airbnb physically into every city. So in every major city in Germany, we are hiring community managers and city managers, and they're going to be local events. We're going to meet every single host probably in Germany and talk to all of them. We're going to be much more accessible so that these hosts start connecting with each other also. And in that sense, basically making a localization of the Airbnb product here and then being present here physically and kind of activating what is there in potential, but right now just not unlocked because it just simply doesn't know about the brand maybe.
Okay, at the end of my interviews, I usually make people look at the crystal ball in a way, giving their perspectives. What is it that we can expect in 2011 and maybe 2012 from Airbnb International and Airbnb Germany?
Well, I can tell you from the product perspective, we recently launched Social Connections on Airbnb. Have you had a chance to see that? Mm-hmm. So Social Connections is, it's a brand new feature where you can actually connect through Facebook. And what we do is we show you how you're connected to a host on the site. So what we do is we basically show all the interconnections on your social graph of all the friends of friends that you're connected to around the world. Anywhere a friend of yours has left a review on Airbnb, so you can actually see where your friends have left reviews all around the world. You can see where you and a host went to the same university or college. So it's a way to actually make our listings even more accessible to people, right? It's not so strange to stay in someone's apartment if you actually have a mutual friend.
Okay, maybe one postscriptum before we come to the German perspective. What about mobile? Is mobile a topic at Airbnb?
Absolutely. So when you ask about the rest of this year and into 2012, I mean, travel is such a mobile experience, right? You're not always behind a laptop or a computer. So how can we better support our community while they're actually out in the world traveling? And this is both hosts who need to manage their listings. This is both travelers who want to find a place to book. In fact, on our iPhone app, there's a special button that you can press that says, "Help, I need a place tonight." So in one tap, you can hit the iPhone and we'll show you all the Airbnbs right around where you are, and you can literally just book it right through the phone. So we started with the iPhone app, but we have a much bigger mobile roadmap ahead.
Okay, an interesting way to go internationally. What about German in specific?
So I think next year in Germany there will be thousands of hosts, and they are going to be in each city, and they're going to meet there locally, have a very strong connection with Airbnb, and going to spread the word around. This is going to be much more, it's like well known. If you think about where to stay, this is one of the obvious options, and people are going to use this as guests, but then also it's going to become much more normal to be a host there. And think about not letting your place stay empty for 4 weeks if you go away in the summer, but this is the natural way of doing this. And I think that's going to be almost ubiquitous in just a few years in Germany.
Okay, cool. Then thanks to you guys, obviously, and good luck on this thrilling journey you're at.
Thanks, Joel.